Annyeonghaseyo, all my beautiful people. Welcome to the alternate point of view. My name is Tracy Lee, and as promised on my social media, I said I was going to do a recap of the Karen Read trial. It is a very popular trial right now that is going on, and it is getting and garnering almost as much attention, if not more attention, than the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, if you can believe that. So I wanted to touch on this trial and do a quick recap because it's the best that I can do is a quick recap because it is a very confusing trial to unravel. And as you can see, I am still in beautiful Arizona, so you may hear some background noise. I had to find a shady spot because holy crap, it's hot. But it's absolutely gorgeous out here, you guys, if you've never been. So first of all, I want to welcome everyone who is new to this channel and welcome back everyone who has been subscribing and watching and sharing and liking. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So let's get into this timeline because this is what's really confusing. Actually, that's not what's confusing. Timeline is pretty simple. Other than the giant gap in the timeline, that's what's confusing. So apparently on January 29th, 2022, right? This couple goes out, they hang out at a couple of bars, nothing bad about that, right? So they go out, they're at a couple of bars, they're drinking with friends, and around midnight, okay, they get invited to a friend's house, which is a fellow officer of John O'Keefe. Now, here's the first thing I want to say. The first thing I want to say is who is getting lost in all of this trial, all of this hoopla, all of this media coverage. Everything is Officer John O'Keefe. Okay, I'm finding it very sad, and really for him and his family, that everyone is forgetting that this man died, and he died a pretty miserable death. I don't know exactly how he died, other than they're saying blunt force trauma had to have occurred. I haven't heard anything like hypothermia or anything like that. So we are waiting for the medical examiners to get up there and speak and tell their part. Karen Read's defense team has Dr. Botnick as their medical examiner, much like in the case of Corey Mocachillo for the Christopher case, Garrett case. I think that's the father's name that's being accused of killing him. They have Dr. Harry Botnick as well. So he's a world-renowned medical examiner, much like Dr. Henry Lee. So he is saying something opposite, of course, of what the autopsy says. So we will see what these different medical examiners are saying. But according to the autopsy report from John O'Keefe's autopsy, it was blunt force trauma. So I'm just curious to see if the prosecution's theory is correct, that apparently in this blizzard on this night, there was a blizzard, okay, Karen Read supposedly backed into John O'Keefe and hit him at 24 miles an hour within 62 feet and hit him to the point that he fell back in the snow and died. And or he was at least left there long enough to die for about 6 hours, because that's when his body was found. So at least that's when, you know, she found out he was out there still. So she wakes up after she goes home to his house after dropping him off at this party because she didn't want to go to the party. She goes back to his house and she wakes up after 4 in the morning and she realizes he's not there. So she starts calling around. Hey, have you seen John? Where's John? What's going on? Have you seen John? According to everyone at the party, no one seems to see John. No one has seen John. No one even saw John come into the party. There are witnesses that say they saw them pull up into the driveway, but then they drove away. So they thought they just changed their mind about coming into the party and left. Now, I find it odd that all this time passes and no one seemed to have called to see, like, hey, man, where are you at? So I'm waiting for the cell data from these people. But here's the other strange thing about this case is that they go up, they find John. She's freaking out, like freaking out, in distress. trying to help him, trying to save him. None of the other women that were at the party seemed to be trying to help John at all. They're actually trying to calm Karen down a lot and say she's overreacting, she's got to calm down, all this, that, and the other. But they're not trying to help John in any way. No one mentions that they had a party in that very house that night. No one mentions that this house belongs to a police officer, a co-worker of John O'Keefe. No one mentions that he was supposed to be there. No one mentions any of that. The detectives don't search the house. The detectives don't question anyone in the house. They don't question and find out who all was in the house. They don't question anything. They just immediately decide that for whatever reason, John O'Keefe was in that yard and Karen Read killed him. There is a lot of testimony from John O'Keefe's family members who speak very highly of Karen Read. They say she was wonderful. They all got along. Their relationship wasn't really a problem, that they had simple discussions, arguments like any other relationship. But the prosecution is trying to say that they were breaking up, they were having trouble in paradise, and that she killed him because she was angry with him. So I don't know how that looks. I haven't seen the text messages yet, but apparently there were some pretty ugly text messages. But you know how people can argue. They can get into some arguments. They can say some pretty nasty, ugly things to each other. So, there's a difference, though, between saying some pretty nasty, ugly things that you didn't mean in the heat of the moment than, running someone over with your car. And in a blizzard. And in X amount of feet of snow. So it just seems kind of... I'm not really sure. I don't know. I need to see a reenactment. So if any of you guys know how to do that, I'm thinking about trying to learn how to do it on AI, because I know AI can do a lot of things. So I'm thinking about trying to learn how to do a reenactment of someone possibly being hit at 24 miles an hour in 62 feet. That's pretty fast in 62 feet. And how would she have hit the brakes? You know what I mean? Going that speed, hitting him. He's 6'2". She's in a Lexus Suburban. He's 6'2". There's no damage to his mid-torso area, his legs, anything, nothing. No damage whatsoever, just his head. As a matter of fact, his brother described his face when he saw him as his eyes were bulging like ping pong balls. So, and there was a bruising around his eye. There were scratches on his arm. So they were like cuts, though, more like cuts. So I'm just finding it kind of strange that unless he was bent over, how his head would have been hit by her car, her SUV, because he's a 6'2" man. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, I'm no mathematician by any means. I'm no, analyst, but I'm just trying to figure out how that would happen logistically. So if any of you guys have any theories on that, please do let me know. If any of you know how to put together a diagram, or, how this could physically happen, and then how would she have been able to drive away in that kind of weather, in that kind of snow? And I know it's Jersey, right? People can drive in that kind of weather. They're used to it, but those roads were not treated. They were not plowed. So I'm just trying to figure out how there wouldn't be any kind of marks or anything. And if you fall backwards in the snow, unless there's a blunt object that you hit under the snow, how would you have hit the snow? I know packed snow is pretty hard, but is it hard enough to hit your head so hard that your eyes bulge out of the top of your head like ping pong balls? Is that possible? I'm just curious. So there's a lot of supporters for Karen Read. They're saying that the police department, her defense is that the police department framed her. I don't know the full story. I don't know if this is a frame job. I'm not sure. But what I will say is that the paramedics that have gotten on the stand all have had the same story except for one. Now, 3 of the paramedics have said that she was running around screaming, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him." Now, just to note, none of these paramedics said this at the scene, in their reports, to the hospital, at the doctor, anywhere. They never mentioned this. Also, the detective on the scene said that she was screaming, "Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead?" She was trying to help him in between saying, "Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead?" Then later in April, he changes his statement to her saying, "This is all my fault. This is all my fault. I did this. This is all my fault." So how do you change your statement? And how did all these people's statements change over time after the fact from January 29th, January 30th? So no one wrote this in their reports. No one said anything. And then they all used the excuse was, well, our job quit and ended at the moment of checking on the patient. So you don't put that in your report. You don't say anything about that. You don't mention that to a police officer. Also, one of the paramedics who was on the scene, the female paramedic, actually knew one of the women on the scene, but she claimed in court, I don't know who that person is. There was a lady standing next to us, but she said she didn't know who she was. But yet she runs in the same circles as this person. It's Jersey, you guys. I've been to Jersey. My relatives live in Jersey. Everybody knows everybody, you guys. I'm just telling you that right now. And if you haven't noticed, if you look at the court gallery and you look at all the people from Jersey, they all look pissed off, right? They all look like somebody pissed in their Cheerios in the morning, okay? That's how everybody in New Jersey looks, okay? I'm just telling you that right now. You can tell a Yankee from like a mile away up there. They all look like that. Sorry to everyone in New Jersey, not sorry, because you all look like you're angry about something. That's literally how they look. But anyway, they changed their stories. Their stories have completely twisted. I'm not really sure the relevance of, maybe she does know this woman. Maybe she didn't recognize her in this blizzard. Maybe, in the moment of trying to save John's life or trying to get the information because Karen was hysterical. Maybe she didn't know who she was, but it does turn out that she does have a past, or actually they are friends on Facebook and social media, but maybe they are just acquaintances. How many friends do you have on social media that you don't really know? You're just acquainted with through other people, but apparently she went to high school with her. So again, I'm telling you, it's kind of like in the South, where everybody knows everybody's business. In New Jersey, everybody knows everybody's business, okay? So I don't know how I feel about this case yet. I'm still waiting to hear more evidence come out. I'm keeping up with it as much as I can because it is just so twisted. It's so crazy. And I think that the support for Karen Read is really drowning out the actual reason why we are having this trial in the first place. And that is because we are trying to figure out what happened to John O'Keefe that night. And I believe that the hours from 12:15 a.m. until after 6 in the morning, that's a huge gap of time of not knowing where he was, what happened to him, who could have done it. If he slipped and fell in the snow on his own, because, they were intoxicated. They were coming from a couple of bars. She did leave him. He got out of the truck and she did let him go. I mean, he's a grown man. He was either going to walk into the house. I mean, it could be many possibilities. Maybe nothing happened to him. Maybe he fell a couple of times trying to go into the house and he never made it into the house. Maybe no one did anything to him. I honestly don't know, you guys. I don't know. What do you think? Are there other theories besides this is a frame job? Could it be that he tripped and fell and hit his head and that's what happened? Do you think that he went into the party and they're talking about this German Shepherd theory, that they had a German Shepherd that wasn't friendly and that's where the scratch marks came from, or the cut marks? They actually look like cut marks, okay? Do you think it was a party that got out of control and his own officer buddies beat him up and threw him out in the snow and he died? Do you think Karen Read hit him with her car and left him for dead? I mean, there's so many different possible theories, but the problem is there enough evidence to hold Karen Read accountable for his death? I'm not really sure. But again, I will say there is a lot of support for Karen Read. This is getting a lot of media attention, but I really feel that the entire point, the entire center of the story is being missed. I do feel for Karen Read being on trial for this when there really isn't a clear-cut answer. And again, the evidence of the taillight. Now, they're saying that pieces of taillight were found at the scene. Well, just so you know, that taillight evidence was not found until after they impounded Karen Read's car. So there could be a little bit to this cover-up story, frame job story. There could be a little bit to that. But I will also say, again, what's being lost in all of this is the fact that a man died. A police officer died in a very terrible way. I don't know how. There is no answer. So I'm finding a lot of reasonable doubt in this case. I'm finding a lot of coulda, maybe, possiblies. But I'm still waiting for more evidence to come out. I'm especially waiting for the cell evidence to come out. I'm wondering if they did get any evidence from anyone at the party, like any cell evidence from anyone at the party later, even though the police did not investigate anyone at the party. The house has been sold. The dog is gone. So a lot of crazy things have happened since this incident. So a lot of people have disconnected themselves from this trial and this case altogether because they have made themselves not be a part of this in any way. So I'm just kind of curious. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it down in the comments below. And I hope to hear from you soon. So thank you again. Kamsahamnida. Korean fact of the day, you guys, for Asian Heritage Month. I just wanted to let you know. Jungkook, if you don't know who Jungkook is, has outsold Taylor Swift, by the way. Billboard topped her. He is from BTS, the most popular Korean K-pop group in the world. And they have made their own music. And Jungkook is one of them. He's serving in the military in South Korea right now, which, side note, another Korean fact, all able-bodied men in Korea have to serve 2 years in the military by the time they're 28 years old. And all of BTS is serving their time in the military right now or have just finished serving some of their military time. They all went in phases. Jungkook is one of them. And he is a very talented artist in BTS. And he is the only Korean artist who has ever topped the charts on Billboard and beat Taylor Swift. So BTS, go Army. And I'm a Jungkook bias, by the way. So anyway, all right. Kamsahamnida. Thank you so much for listening. And I will see you all in the next video.